Wolf, great news this week. Two of our elder statesmen in the team have signed new contracts. We'll start with Stephen Davis, who was released first. Now, what can you say about the man, Wolf? I take it you're delighted that he's going to be here for another season.
Absolutely ecstatic about it. I mean, he's like a fine wine. He's getting better with age. You know, I mean, he's when he came back, we thought, is this the player that, you know, that left us all those years ago? But I mean, he'd hardly played the sort of year previous to that. But he's come back and he's just proved how good a player he is. I mean, his international record speaks volumes. I mean, 126 caps. It's just incredible. I mean, the man hardly misses a beat. I mean, for Rangers, every time he's available, more or less he's playing. You know, it's just, I mean, it's incredible. Great news that he's saying, because even if he can't play twice a week, if he's going to play, the fact he's in the dressing room, you know, we're going to be hopefully bringing some new players and he can tell them what it's all about. They can see him as a role model. I mean, I think we could do worse than try to get him on the coaching staff as well.
Graham, I think that's a great point, Wolf. I think Stephen Davis is destined to be a manager. Now, we'll come on to Defoe later on, but can you see Davis playing a more tutorial role probably next season? You know, is he going to be able to play 50 games? I don't know. But do you see him being key to our success next year and bringing the next crop through?
Davis is like a model professional, and you can see off the pitch how he's keeping himself fit, and that's how he's playing so long. Delighted he signed a new extension, and I was talking after the Northern Ireland games, one of the questions was about, is he doing coaching badges and stuff like that? And he was said he's going to, once he finishes, that's where he'll start. So I'd definitely put him learning with under 18s and stuff like that as well. But imagine like Stephen Kelly when he comes back next year, hopefully, learning on the training pitch with Stephen Davis. So it'll be some experience for him. And it just helps Rangers grow, keep going forward.
I mean, we're talking about an elder statesman here, of course, and we're talking about tutorials and we're looking after players, but he's still got a lot to give on the pitch. Do you not think so?
100%. And for like guys like I know yourself, Derek and Graham as well, take some involvement in like the sort of coaching side of things, and I'd imagine he's the sort of guys you say to younger players, say go watch Stephen Davis for half an hour, just go player cam and we see what he does in the park, because he just scrolls about games and he just knows he's exactly what he's to do at the right time. And for a sort of personal thing, I'm delighted he signed on, because I'll be gutted if I don't get to see him play at Rangers in the flesh again for a couple of games, see if that was his last game, because I just love watching him. And I think Wolf was right, he came in his first 6 months, he was a bit, when he came back, it was like, has he passed it a wee bit? And then it just shows you, like, a pre-season under his belt, even at that age, he can just come on and still stroll it and just be a Rolls Royce in the park. So it's great to watch, and I think the influence, you're right. I think he's another guy, he's won medals, he'll be able to pass that knowledge down. So he's just a quality player. I'm lucky to have him, because, and it's similar to like maybe we'll come on to McGregor, I don't envy the person's job that's got to try and find a replacement for him. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a task in itself. So if we can put that off for another year, I'm happy about that.
Wolf, how do we replace Stephen Davis?
I don't know that we can replace him. I mean, they need to. I mean, I'm sure they will work. I mean, Ross Wilson will be working on it, because they know that, you know, it's not with Stephen Davis and same with McGregor, who we'll go on to. It's not a case of, well, I wonder if they'll leave. We know they're going to retire at some point. They're going to have to, because they're getting on a bit. So there must be a succession plan there. They'll have, you know, as the boys were saying, the young boys like Stephen Kelly, they can only learn off guys like Davis, and it's soon going to be time for them either put up or shove off. You know, if they can't reach the level we need to reach. But I mean, Ross Wilson and his team will be, they'll have their eyes on people, and if they can bring them in to work alongside Stephen Davis, whether it's while he's still on the books as a player or if he's back as a coach, then, you know, they'll certainly learn from him. But as for replacing him, I think it'll be very, very difficult to replace.
Now, Graham, do you think that we need to replace Stephen Davis this summer and try and get his replacement in next to him, if finances allow, obviously?
Ideally, that would be ideal, basically. But I think it gives us a year at least, if we've not already planned and found a person to replace him. Because obviously Ross Wilson, I think when you look at his career at Southampton and plays, he does plan like 2-3 years ahead. He always talks about that. So they might even have somebody looked out to replace him and bring him in this summer, as you say, if we can do it financially. But it gives us a year anyway and see how it goes. So,
yeah. Well, I think we've got the people in place now to replace players. You know, it will be a big deal and it will be a big miss, but I'm confident in the team that we've got. off the pitch now in recruitment that we, hopefully can soften the blow. But you can never replace a man like Stephen Davis, in my opinion, entirely. It's just trying to make work. We could almost need a couple of players for me for what he brings to the team. My main worry is that if Stephen Davis doesn't play well, Rangers don't play well right now, to a certain extent. So that's my concern going forward. But I'm sure Gerrard's team will have, a few up their sleeve and fingers crossed. Now, Wolf, the next contract is Allan McGregor. We're slightly older than Davis. He'll be 40 by the time his contract runs out, but we had to give him another year, didn't we?
We absolutely did. I mean, they've said all along that if he wants a contract, it's there for him, and it's all down to him and how he feels his body's holding up. And I'm again delighted that he signed, and the way they've gone about it's fantastic. I mean, he said all along, until the league's won, I don't want to talk about it. And then we won the league, and within a couple of days, I believe they were negotiating, and he's now signed a deal, which is tremendous. I mean, if you're John McLaughlin, you're a wee bit annoyed because you're maybe thinking, well, I've got a chance of a regular gig here for Rangers, but the man signed. But I mean, again, McGregor, you've got to keep him as long as you can, because I mean, even a guy like John McLaughlin, John McLaughlin's in his 30s, but he'll still learn loads off McGregor. If Robbie McCrory comes back, he'll learn loads off McGregor. You need to keep him there as long as you can. I mean, he's even talking about doing his coaching badges as well, which, if we can hang on to him, wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, Graham, he's been outstanding this season, and it was the biggest no-brainer you've seen in football, to give him a new deal.
I was delighted when he signed it. He was the one out of the two that I was quite worried that he'd maybe think that's time ending a high, but it's well deserved. Some of the saves this year, especially in the tight games when he's kept us in it at times. Delighted, and as you said, Robbie McCrory, John McLaughlin, and even the younger lads that maybe get the chance to train with him every now and then. It keeps the club moving forward and in a good place.
Stephen, we're talking about, again, same with McGregor, we're talking about older people here, but he's one of our top performers. It's testament to how fit he is. We if I'm going to ask you, how are we going to replace McGregor? Is it someone within, or do we need to get him?
It's a checkbook out as much as we can, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's that sort of that phrase, isn't it? He must have been about 9-12 points he's gained this year, really, on his own, isn't he? And it's something I actually didn't expect him to come back and be as good as he has been. I don't know if that was just naivety and Mappa or what it is, but some of the saves he's been pulling off has just been fantastic. This season, I think he's raised it to another level. I know people say goalies get better with age, but you get 1 point they're going to drop off, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of that with McGregor. And I know at the start of this year, I think the only issue is you're worrying is he going to be too old? Maybe this year, maybe hang up his boots or whatever. But it doesn't seem any signs of him sort of slowing down. And I know at the start of the season, he had a wee bit of a back injury, was it? And he came back for that no bother and was still performing well. So long may it continue. And the guy that's going to replace him, I feel for him. But we've been fortunate with goalies over the years, so hopefully we can keep that run going. Our luck's been fantastic, so fingers crossed that trend can keep happening.
Yeah, well, do you almost see this year? Stephen Davis and Allan McGregor for me will still start next season. We've still got a big season to go. It seems as if we've not, but we've still got things to play for this year. But do you almost see it as buying Rangers a year to find the replacements?
I think it does to a certain extent, as long as the two of them can stay fit. I mean, I don't think certainly Stephen Davis, I don't think he'll play as many games as he has this season.
Mm-hmm.
And McGregor, if his fitness holds, he certainly will, because he just loves playing games. But yeah, I mean, it certainly gives us the time to get somebody and get them bedded in, because there's it's all very well saying, okay, we'll sign this guy as a replacement for whichever one of them it's going to be, but it's whether they can settle into Rangers, because it's a big jersey to fill, particularly the goalkeeper, because as Stephen said, we've been really blessed with goalkeepers, through the years. I mean, take out the so-called banter years when the best mill in the world, when they weren't the best. I mean, we've had some absolutely cracking goalkeepers in the last kind of 20-25 years. So whoever's coming in to replace McGregor, that's a big jersey to fill. So if they can get that guy in now, to fill it and kind of learn from him, that's got to help.
I think a thing about that as well, if I was with Ross Wilson or Gerrard, they've already talked before about maybe selling a few players this year. I don't know if it's going to be like Kamara and some, maybe Morelos, and you don't really want to go into a window and have to replace Davis, McGregor, and going out for a striker. It does kind of buy you a bit of time, maybe to try and replace them players this year, if whoever they go. Hopefully they don't, but if they're thinking about selling a player this year, and then next year bed those guys in for a year and then try and do another two big hitters in McGregor and Davis if it is the season after. So maybe there's a bit of forward planning in it. Maybe that's what they're thinking, but it's just glad to have them for another year.
Do you think that's right? Do you think there's a bit of risk management here in terms of we might lose two, we probably are going to lose 2-3 in the summer to not balance the books, but just to evolve. Do you see a bit of risk management here? We keep making sure we don't need to replace 5 or 6 of the first 11.
I totally agree with what Stephen was saying there. It gives them the chance. If we sell somebody, we don't need to replace them. That's safe, and then we can focus on either replacing them or improving other positions this season. So it's the best way to run the club in it. So I'm happy with that.
But the Ryan Jack thing seems to be a lot more serious than we thought, because he's just we've seen a specialist. So potentially, if Ryan Jack, if they can't kind of stabilise Ryan Jack and manage his injury, you could potentially be looking at a whole new midfield if Davis hadn't signed a new contract.
Yeah.
Because Stephen says Kamara must be one of the favourites to go, particularly if he's a good Euros. And if Jack's not available, and then Davis isn't there, that's a whole new midfield we need. But at least with Davis there, that's the continuity in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and he's a linchpin, isn't he? The teams he's going to be there, everything will seem okay. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. But for me, we're almost run like a proper football club now. So what Stephen said is spot on. I think there will be a bit of risk management here and saying, well, you know what, we've kept McGregor, we've kept Davis, we can maybe sell Kamara. I'm really worried about Ryan Jack, for me, for the amount of games he missed. I love Ryan Jack. He brings to the team something that the rest don't, for me. And I'm really worried that, it's more serious than what it is. He does miss a lot of games for his age, but fingers crossed he can be in that midfield next year, because for me, Ryan Jack could play for Rangers for as long as he wanted to. He's that good. Now, we had a poll on Twitter during the week about another of our elder statesmen. I keep using that word, but Jermain Defoe. Now, Stephen, his contract's up. He's slightly different in the fact that he's not had many games. Would Jermain Defoe be worth another year at Rangers?
I think there's a possibility. I think I'd be surprised, though, depending on what we say to Defoe, if he'd maybe want to stay for another year. I think he thinks he's got more left in the tank. I think he thinks he can probably be a starter for somebody somewhere. And I think he thinks he's got goals in him. If Morelos goes, though, in the summer, I would quite like to have a backup of somebody like Defoe. He kind of guarantees you, if you're going to give him the game time, 10 goals, 12, 15 goals a season. So it's a tough one. I don't know how you'd sell that to Defoe. I can imagine him maybe thinking, I want to be a first team star. And to be fair to him, he deserves that, because any time he's came on, he's done well for us. So it's a really tough one to answer, to be fair. It really depends on who we bring in, because I think we'll need to bring in somebody in the forward line. So maybe I'll wait and see, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's away in the summer.
Okay, what about you, mate? Would you give him another year, or do you think it's up to Jermain Defoe what he wants, the same as McGregor?
I think with the Defoe situation, it comes down to maybe what kind of contract he would accept. But I think one of the answers was player coach. But if he would do something like that, or because I believe he's one of the highest paid players. So if he was signing a new year, I think he'd need to adjust the wage to suit how many games he plays. Obviously, because we need to think about finances and stuff like that as well. And then obviously, it's a great guy having around. You can see the Morelos has benefited so much than other players, but I've got a feeling he wants to have a go somewhere for maybe a year or two and finish his career scoring goals. And you can't blame the guy, and wish him all the best if he does leave.
Yeah,
sorry, you go.
I agree with both the guys about that as well. But the thing that's in the back of my mind, I think he seems to really have enjoyed the fact he's finally won a title. And that might be a carrot for him staying to win another one. But as they're saying, as Graham's saying, it depends on the sort of contract he'll accept, because we can't afford to have a bit part player, one of the highest paid players at the club. That just doesn't make sense.
No, I think it would have to suit both parties with that, Wolf. I think you're right. For me, I think Defoe would be a beneficial member of the squad. He scores the odd goal. It looks as if he's great for the younger players, but we can't be affording to pay whatever it is a week for a mentor. And I know we've just said that about Davis and McGregor, but I'd imagine they'll be on, salaries that, suit their age and, where they're at in their careers. So if we can get Defoe on a deal that, that works out the same as that, then brilliant. For me, I think Defoe's got another year in him somewhere, whether that's League One or in England or Championship. I'm not sure, but he's definitely, for me, got another year in him. So I think he'll go in the summer. But we're privileged to see him play at Rangers. He's a top striker, and he's got that league title he deserves. So if he goes away, I'm sure with everyone's best wishes. Now, followers on Twitter seem to think so. The choices were, for Jermain Defoe was yes, another year, no time to move on, and a player coach. And the winner was by 53% was yes for another year. And the next one was player coach, and then 19% said no, time to move on. So, well, for you surprised that? No, I think Rangers fans quite like him, don't they?
Yeah, I think they like him, but as we said, it depends on the finances. If they can sort out a deal that's beneficial to everybody without costing us a king's ransom, then I'd be sad to see him. I'd be happy enough to see him stay. But again, it has to be financially beneficial for us, really. We have to call the shots on it.